were there any language barriers that your family or the church community faced? So our church was a mainly Spanish-speaking church. My first language is English. My parents speak Spanish. My sister speaks pretty good Spanish too. My brothers, on the other hand, and I too. Our Spanish is not our first language, so we kind of would always speak English. I would say that it was never a barrier for our family to be able to communicate and be a part of the community. But the challenge that Latino churches face, Hispanic churches face today, is you have people that go to church who are coming from another country, and they've only been here for a certain amount of time. So Spanish is their first language. English is foreign and second. And so a church does ministry mainly in Spanish. Everything is in Spanish. Music, preaching, teaching, communication, in and out. It's all in Spanish. But these people come and they have children. They have their families here. Or these kids come really young and they start going to school here. And all of a sudden, 10 years down the road, you're looking at a generation that can speak Spanish better than me. They speak Spanish, they can communicate just fine, but they connect in English. And now you have this wrestle, this tussle of these young people are on top. Okay, young people in general, there's seasons where they become disconnected. They will, because that's just when we're young like that. When we're teenagers, we're finding our own way. So we really sometimes will come off the trail to kind of find our own way sometimes. Well, imagine that. And then you add on the fact that, the sermon is in a language that they don't really connect with. The only time they speak that language is to their mom or dad. Or the only time they hear that language is when they're being told what to do. So you have this dynamic where young people are not really connected to the church because the language doesn't connect with them. And so, and honestly, that's what I see. And again, Ruthie and I, we left our church back in 2020. So we had been up with that church all the way up to then. So, that's a lot of the churches that were small, that were struggling to keep young people. That was one of the bigger reasons why. And because of the cultural things that the church wouldn't adopt, they were afraid to adopt anything different because they were afraid that could become worldly or become confusing. And because they have a congregation there that speak Spanish and this is the way they do church, but then they have young people who hey, we want to try some of these other things, or we want to sing English songs, or we want to be able to wear jeans and a hat in church. And you have this, older congregation that's no, we can't do that. We have to wear this and this, and we can only sing these type of songs. And there's that whole dynamic. And so, that is the biggest barrier in Spanish speaking churches, is literally Spanish. It's literally the language. It's literally, if churches can find a way to adapt and not saying stop speaking Spanish or stop doing things in Spanish, but find a way to adapt and become bilingual. Those are the churches that do well. And there are plenty of churches out there that are doing bilingual that do well. And it's a very natural thing. And they have a lot of young people. They have a lot of bilingual Latinos, and it's a great thing to see. So